I have
no.
I have just one last question for you boys. Just another one that's, you know, turned friendships against each other. Just
We did that with the Christmas
because
list. It's fine. We're already chatted.
yeah,
Don't worry about
but
it.
I mean,
It's already
you know what? This will seal.
Fuck Smoky
This will-
Bacon.
but this will completely seal.
Smoky bacon,
those-
mate. I don't know what your issue is.
I'm not talking about fucking crisps.
Fuck yourself.
Smoky bacon sucks, you idiot.
Maybe ready salted shouldn't have been amazing.
Says
That might
Michael
have been
with
an
the
absolute
taste bud of a
To be
fucking
fair-
2-year-old.
Fuck off.
Yeah,
Right,
you like
back on
playing
track.
stuff.
It's fries.
Back on track. Let me
I was
ask.
playing his
Crisps.
music.
Let me ask.
I love watching it.
Oh, I'm not even doing it.
Oh no, go on.
Go on, guys. Go on. Come on.
Go on.
Are you Marvel or are you DC? Just in general.
Monster Munch.
This doesn't have to be films. But this can be just all kinds of media, whether it's TV, like just how you grew up in general, comics or anything. Like, what's your preference in general? Let's start with you, Michael.
So for me, I'd say it's got to be Marvel. As what are you?
Go on, Mike. Are you fucking playing that?
Bloody
Story
hell.
of- Carry on.
So yeah, no. For me, a big one with Marvel is they've always had characters that are very like interesting on a personal level. Like obviously, one of their greatest characters, Spider-Man. I've grown up with him since I was a kid. You know,
Have you?
like,
Has he been in your house already?
he's living with the old family. You know, little Peter
Pop around the
Parker.
corner, innit?
But yeah, I think Marvel are like personally have the better characters. You know, they're a lot more interesting. They have personal challenges, and like for me, DC are characters that are like godlike. They're very strong, undefeated, and I don't think they're as interesting in some ways. Like I do love Batman, I do love Superman, but for me, it's like characters like Spider-Man and like Marvel in general just have a much bigger impact. And the MCU is just so great and has such a great impact on the cinema. And as was said in a lot of from people recently, it's like a modern day Star Wars for people, you know. And yeah, that's a big reason for why I would always be Team Marvel.
So you're about that relatability then with characters. That's what you like, that characterization where it feels a lot more grounded.
Because
Because the sort of guy who gets bit by a spider and goes, oh.
Oh my god, I'm Spider-Man. Well, no, because it's like
that's a thumbnail.
That's the thumbnail, yeah. No, because Iron Man, like, you know, Tony Stark starts off as like a bit of an asshole in Iron Man 1, and then you make your way to.
That's
Avengers
true. You are a
Endgame.
dickhead, to be fair. So you're already halfway there.
I'm not Iron Man, you idiot.
Oh shit.
Where's my
One brain
beard?
cell.
Oh, you wanker. Who's talking about brain cells?
Couldn't put together something from IKEA.
Yeah, I could.
Jesus.
I put together a wardrobe, thank you very much.
That punch bag behind him, like, I'd beat him up. You punch it, smack him in the jaw.
Right, yeah, anyway, I'm finished talking, yeah. After
All right,
you.
Ethan. All right, Ethan. Are you a DC or are you a Marvel fanboy?
Bit of a silly question, isn't it? It's going to be Marvel, isn't it?
Why has it got to be Marvel then?
Why is this?
All right, the thing with Marvel, like, they actually do it right. I mean, they put you on this journey as well, all these different characters. It flows in from one film to the next. And I feel like there's a lot of continuity. Mate, go look at DC, like, 1 minute you're over here, 1 minute here. It's just fucking stupid, like, bollocks. I mean, there's the odd standalone film that's all right. Like, I quite enjoyed Wonder Woman and Jason Momoa. You know, it's just, everyone likes Jason Momoa, so you know he did that justice. Just playing himself.
Ethan, you could be Aquaman. You'd be Aquaman if you were a DC character. You got the blonde hair. I could see you in the orange fishnet suit. You know.
Standing up.
Imagine talking to a whale. All right, you feel like my ex.
Brilliant.
All
Right, I think.
Right,
All right, fucking hell, steady on. I was just saying, I do think DC and Marvel both, when they do like the standalone stuff, that's outside of the MCU, like Logan, and then obviously you have the Dark Knight. So I quite like the darker stuff. I feel like they're both sort of on par. They sort of focus on this individual characters and tell their story really well. But I do think Marvel have it ahead when it comes to sort of these bigger universes and sort of trying to interlock the characters from one film to the next. I just feel like I enjoy it a bit more. I get excited and like thrilled to go to midnight release and watch a Marvel film. DC, I'm like, yeah, it's probably gonna be all right. Probably like a 4 out of 10, which most of the time it fucking is.
Have you ever like sort of consumed any other form of DC media that isn't films though, like TV or series or anything else?
Probably as a kid, like there was the odd little Batman and Robin thing, but nothing too serious. No, I
Did
was
you
never
guys
that
ever?
interested
Oh,
in it.
sorry.
Really.
Did you guys ever watch like the Batman Brave and the Bold or anything like that? That wasn't.
I watched the animated series. Yeah.
Oh, it was the Batman. That was the one I'm talking about. Did you guys ever watch that? The animated show?
No.
I watched and read The Killing Joke.
Killing Joke's good.
I
Yeah.
actually haven't seen that, to be fair.
Killing Joke's really good.
But yeah, I watched the Batman. That was a really good cartoon show on Cartoon Network. It was like a slightly different take on it all.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I watched the
Batman,
ghetto voiceover version of Batman.
So
Oh,
Eve,
yeah, that's
you're
a
more
classic.
about the sort of like the cinematography and like the film style that the Marvel has over DC.
I love the
then.
journey that you go on, especially with the MCU.
Yeah.
But I really enjoy these standalone films like Logan.
So you're more about the narrative then.
Yeah, I'd say so. And I
Okay.
also like the journey the characters go on. Like for instance, Cap and Iron Man. You've been on it since what, 2008, 2011, whatever it was, and you've been with these characters for all these different films. And when they like meet their end, it's proper like shit. Like you actually think, you get something from it. But when like a DC character gets took out, I think, cool. Didn't even know you were anyway.
But in fairness, someone who's a DC fan, like the way you are a Marvel fan, could make the same point about Marvel.
Yeah, I've heard people like DC.
But still,
fans
it's
say
still valid for
Marvel
Ethan. It's like
I
personal.
just said the
Yeah,
reason I
of
know these
course,
characters
but yeah.
because I've known them since this journey
Yeah.
they've been on. Whereas
Yeah.
wow, Batman vs Superman, this is original, isn't it? You know what I mean?
two superheroes fight each other. We love to see it.
Oh, I mean, it's not really fair,
That's-
is it? Batman's some bloke
yeah.
in a metal suit with a little spiky thing that can kill a god, and then you got Superman and can literally just smash through him and just obliterate him. Like, you ever seen The Boys? Let's play that scene in The Boys. That fucking Summit Train, whatever his name is, smashes through that bird. Tough guy, man. He's probably on his first day.
Oh,
And his
that
bird
is
just
such
gets
a gruesome
obliterated.
scene.
Oh, you've seen The Boys? Oh,
Yeah, I've seen The Boys.
That's great.
Have,
Yeah.
Don't get
have you
too
seen
much.
it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Let's not go off
over
a
to-
tangent,
next
but-
episode.
Yeah.
So over to you, Ben. Marvel. DC.
No, previously in the past, we've spoke about DC and saying, I mean, if we're gonna have this conversation, I'm disappointed in you two boys. Someone's at least got to bring up the Dark Knight
I
trilogy.
did. I fucking did.
Come on, man.
I'm going to play it right now.
I kind of switched off about
He clearly weren't listening, Ethan.
He's got Last
2
of
minutes
Us in
into
his
talk,
head.
yeah.
Look, there he is. He's thinking about Butch.
I just got anything
I
else,
heard
mate.
Ethan mention the Dark Knight.
Yeah, well, it's the bollocks, ain't mate, and then that's it. I'm
Bloody hell, Ben.
But I mean,
Well, this is working out
think-
great.
I think in terms of iconic movies,
Let's just mute what Ben's talking about because it's
they're probably leading. They're probably ahead DC in iconic
But with
movies,
Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight series.
and the Joker as well. That's just come out with Joker. So
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you can argue that. But if I had to go off, I wouldn't even go as far as to say, oh, look at the universes the way that they are and the contingency that they've got with each other and the consistency of quality of films that they've got. I wouldn't even go as far as to say that. I wouldn't bring Kevin Feige into it. And the fact that just DC have been money grabbing, they failed with the Justice League. Batman v Superman was trash. And that was such a huge opportunity for them to make a really, really good film. And they fucked it. Wouldn't even go as far as that. For me, it really does lie with Sam Raimi's trilogy. Even the third one I enjoyed simply based on nostalgia. With those 3 Spider-Man movies, I grew up with them.
It's entertaining though, even if they're not the best
They're
film.
still good. Like the first
They've still got that cult following. Yeah.
Yeah, and the
I don't
second
mind
one
them.
is still a top film.
Yeah,
Like
the
just
second
behind the
one's
Dark Knight, I'd say that Spider-Man 2 is probably the next one.
It's gritty as well. I think it's a little darker.
Brilliant. It's fantastic.
Not as dark as
and Tobey
Batman,
Maguire
but-
for me will always be probably my favourite Spider-Man.
I love Spider-Man 1 and 2. I think because I grew up with
every
that
time
film
I
as
feel
well.
no other way about a film other than like.
Do you like
Spider-Man
Amazing
2.
Spider-Man? Andrew
Really?
Garfield.
I actually think the first one's quite good. The second one is
Well,
terrible.
Is that
I
the
don't think the
second
second one's terrible, but I just
Oh.
think it focuses just too much on different side plots and too many characters. I think it's just it's that scenario of too many cooks spoil the broth, because you've got Spider-Man
I
who's
still
dealing
strange to
with.
get a nostalgia feel with those two films though, because they're still quite a while
Yeah,
ago.
exactly. Yeah,
I feel like
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
get
but
that
they're
game,
still-
you know, the Spider-Man game. I get the feel of the Amazing Spider-Man a bit more for that, like the relatability. It's just because the
They're
villains.
good
and stuff.
games. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
The
But
Amazing
yeah,
Spider-
nah.
game.
But
That's
Ben, what
not
would
it.
you? So what would you?
Marvel,
like, categorize
definitely,
yourself
just
as
because
then?
of that. I
Just
guess
Marvel
it's
then,
more
yeah.
on just that personal connection and nostalgia that I've got with
Yeah.
the Sam Raimi series. And I'd still, and then if someone had to say, oh, you can't have that because it's not MCU, you know, then I'd still say Marvel because of the MCU.
MCU
Yeah, but
alone.
that was my
Yeah.
question. That was my question. We need
Yeah,
to think,
yeah. I
like,
guess.
think outside the MCU and think outside the DCEU. Think
Yeah.
just those two
Marvel.
franchises, those two
Totally.
brands as themselves.
Okay, then well there you
Yeah.
go. So Sam Raimi stands just as relevant as anything else. Yeah, definitely Marvel.
So for Marvel then. Well,
Nathan?
So yeah, it's a four-way go then, because it's on Marvel as well. But I do appreciate what DC do, and even if these films don't,
They should.
you know, work, even if but even if the films don't
He
work
admits it.
up to, but even if the films don't even work up to what they could be, what the potential could be, they still have really good medias. Like I said, with the animated films, you got 2019's Joker with Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
Aquaman wasn't too bad. What else you got? Obviously, Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy, as well as the old Batman. So I do like those, even if they are, you know, following that camp superhero style that we did have. You know,
I
it's
really like
cheesy.
Michael
It's-
Keaton's Batman.
Yeah, it's cheesy, but at the same time, that was a gothic
And
film
Adam
as well,
West
actually,
as well.
so- yeah,
Adam
Adam
West
West, you know,
in
with the infamous
peace.
shark repellent spray. But you know
What's
what?
the guy called who directed Joker? I forgot. What's his name?
Ah,
I can't remember.
Anyway, carry
But-
on. I'll come to me.
But yeah, but with Marvel, it's like, again, I grew up with Marvel, as you boys have said, and Spider-Man has always been like that number one hero that I've had. You know, I've always watched Spider-Man shows. I've always like had figures and dressed up like Spider-Man and such. Like, he was just an icon for me, because I did feel a little bit of that relatability, and the idea that, you know, he's wearing a mask, so you could always pretend that it's like, you know, you under
You
the
could
mask
be
if you wanted to.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly. You could be Spider-Man. And but then of course, like, I felt more of the relatability when we had Miles Morales introduced in 2012 in the Ultimate series, who's a Black Latina character, and I just thought, yeah, that's like really good. That how, of course, there's different people that can be this one name, this one moniker.
character, yeah.
But I do like the stories of both sides. But I would say I'm more Marvel, because again, I did grow up with Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. I did grow up with all the TV series and such, and that is one I do hold close to me. I've got a load of memorabilia around my room, to be fair. I've got, as well as Star Wars, I've got, you know, like every single Lego Avenger. I've got tons of like DC characters and
Nerd.
Marvel stuff. Yeah, nerd, exactly. But who gives a shit?
Sorry,
You know?
I had to go.
Hey, man, he
Yeah,
loves
of
it.
course.
Yeah,
of
exactly,
course,
man.
who
My
cares?
He
final
loves it.
final
I remember
score
I've
says
still got 'em
otherwise.
I was
man.
gonna say- I was
Nathan-
gonna-
I've got like
Nathan's glove's
20,
awesome.
Yeah.
30 pop toys. Remember
That's-
pop toys? Do you remember
Yeah.
those?
I was
I'm
gonna
in
say
Pop
something
Toys.
though.
All
Where
They're
is-
still going.
What's up, beef?
No,
You know,
I
with,
remember
like-
collecting them.
You know, with Todd Phillips,
Yeah,
obviously Joker, and then you've got Logan. I forgot who directed Logan, and then obviously Dark Knight. The
James
thing,
Mangold.
yeah, the thing they all have in common is they're quite gritty with it, aren't they?
Mm.
Quite gritty with it. So, you know, I feel like that does them justice because they're allowed to go down to like a different avenue. sort of
Well, I think the good
explore
thing
that.
about superhero films, anyway, whether they are in the same universe or not, they all take after each other and they all do
Yeah.
inspire each other.
Yeah, they
Like,
do, yeah.
even if it doesn't work, even if it's not good, or even if it's like fantastic and it's like one of the best films you've ever seen, they all take after each other, and I think that's really good. It shouldn't really be a battle of who is
No.
like better. Like, oh, like DC's better, nah, Marvel's better. Like, it doesn't need to be, you know, like this blood boiled like hard fight between each other, because they do take after each other, and I do like that. How no matter what side you're on, you know, it's still cool either way. And yeah, on that bombshell, thank you very much for listening for today's episode of Babblin. Be sure to check out any of our highlights. Be sure to check out our Chris ranking video that got a cheeky shout out earlier. Our friendship is still
Right.
fractured. Fuck Smoky Bacon. But yeah, thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you so much, guys. Bye bye.
Thanks, everyone. Peace.
Uh-uh.